By the way, if iPhone puts a phone on somebody's neck, they need to pay me because I did it first.
Welcome to the YouNeek Show, where we talk about all things YouNeek Studios, African geekdom, and the business of creators.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the YouNeek Show. My name is Roye Okupe. I am the CEO and founder of YouNeek Studios. Jay
Abaje of Nigerian Nerds in the Hizzy in the house. Also, big fan of YouNeek Studios. Here to talk about the latest work.
I just realized that you have the half of the first name of one of my favorite soccer players ever, Roye Okupe.
So here's the thing about that. I've had people in this country when they learn that people who like soccer, football, find out that I'm a Nigerian. Oh, Nigeria, yeah. And then some people say JJ. And I think back to the fact that, I have zero football skills. So it makes me think, God. Not that at all. No, but I love Roye Okupe. Shout out to Roye Okupe, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Yep.
Big up to him, honestly.
All right. What are we talking to?
We're talking about Asseri, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation for a number of reasons. The Asseri book, I have been privileged to read and start reading. I haven't finished the volume 1 yet, and I've said this before. Roye and YouNeek Studios are the Netflix of comic books. These guys they'll drop like, you get like 8 episodes at a time, just boom, in one single volume. And there's a lot to go through. And I keep wanting to go through, and I've flipped back some pages and check again and go forward again and stuff. But before we get into it, what is the Asseri? Because people are talking about.
Yeah, the Asseri, it's a completely brand new universe. It has nothing to do with the YouNeek universe. So the world that Malika, EXO, Iyanu, the Windmaker, the world that they're in is called the YouNeek universe. And I've been telling that story for almost 10 years now. 2015 is when I released EXO, the Legend of Wale Williams. But yeah, it's a brand new universe. And the impetus for me actually creating this story was, whenever you see stories about space in sci-fi or fantasy, whether it's movies, TVs, comics, rarely do you see it told from an African perspective. Right. The Asseri is my way of telling a fantastical and epic space exploration story, but doing it from the African perspective and integrating it with West African mythology as well. It's actually inspired by a mix of like Yoruba culture and also Ashanti as well. For people that don't know, Ashanti is a culture that sort of stems from modern day Ghana.
Not the singer, but we love her.
Yeah, we do love her.
We're talking about the actual Ghanaian tribe, the culture.
Yes, exactly. So there's a little bit of mixing of those cultures because they're so close together. So to me, I felt like it was a unique opportunity to bring in, or start to bring in other cultures outside of Nigeria, which is where I was born and raised. But in terms of story, right, I always tell people, think of it as X-Men meets the Attack on Titan, which those are two of my favorite stories ever. And then put that drama in space. Another way I like to describe it is Game of Thrones in space as well, which isn't a bad way to put it. But in terms of the context of the actual story, it's space exploration story that follows an advanced civilization of West Africans who have conquered space. But then with their expansion comes the threat of civil war. And when civil war breaks out, the entire galaxy goes into a space war that really just almost tears the fabric of space and time. And for me, it's really a very exciting story to tell because this is my first time doing anything outside of Earth. I've like everything that I've done with the YouNeek universe has taken place on the African continent, and now it's like just having the freedom to go into the depths of space and travel to places like Mars or Jupiter, or Ceres or like the asteroid belt, like doing things there and also integrating African mythology on the way has been a fantastic experience.
I love the book because, and to go back to something you said, this is definitely X-Men meets Attack on Titans, with
Yeah.
a nice layering of the intrigue of Game of Thrones. Because I mean, by the
Yes.
time I finished episode the number issue number 3, because this is a
Yes.
graphic novel, so this
Yes.
is a combined graphic novel,
Yeah.
and multiple issues combined into
Yes.
one thick
Chapters.
graphic
Yes. Yes.
so all
Chapters.
these
Yeah.
chapters. So chapter 3, when I got into chapter 3, I thought, ooh, shit's getting this is getting real. There's some bad blood going on here. There's some
Yep.
stuff going on that's happening, and it was very interesting.
Yeah.
But so diving into that, it's also a very collaborative work. Like the art is
Correct.
beautiful, the writing is great. So let's break it down. This book is written by who?
Yours truly.
Okay.
I haven't retired yet. So yes, I'm still writing comics, even though obviously I'm doing a lot of stuff now with Max and Cartoon Network on the Yano project. But no, you know, to me, I really enjoyed writing the Asiri. A lot of people don't know. Actually, I don't know if I've said this before, but writing is very frustrating for me. And to
Really?
me, it's extremely. I love world building. Now, world building, I can do it like 24 hours straight. I can write 1,000-page world building document about here are the gods, here's how they invaded, here's how humanity, like I can do that all day. Here's how the powers come from. This is why it's tied to 1,000 years before. Like all of that I love. When it comes time to write, it's actually frustrating me because it's like you now have to condense a lot of things. It doesn't mean that obviously I'm not a good writer. Just for me, I love world building. But yes, writing this was a frustrating experience actually, because not frustrating in a way where things ended up bad, but frustrating in a way where I just wanted to keep going. But obviously I can't write 10 volume. I can't do like a omnibus 1,000-page graphic novel. That's just going to kill me. So it was trying to really just get as much story into volume 1 in a way that people can really absorb what these characters about, where the story is going. Was very difficult for me, but I think we ended up doing a fantastic job with that.
And the art itself, that's imagining, bringing your story to life. The
Yeah,
guys who worked on it, really great stuff, because the scope of this is really huge, and it
it's
takes a lot.
massive.
It takes different levels of skill. You're not just drawing and anime and drawing people and all
Yeah,
these characters and technical equipment.
yeah,
A skill set to producing realistic images of, like, for example, the asteroid belt, and I
yes,
love the fact
correct.
you can see all these different, because you're coming up with creative names for like our galaxy, world of
Yes,
worlds, stone belt, which is the asteroid belt,
yeah,
all of these things, and it's really cool. So the artists, like,
yeah.
who's doing what? Like, somebody is doing some great visuals when it comes to the backgrounds, the backdrops as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was to me like the book is just, and I'm sure we'll scroll some images as once we edit this, but the book is just beautiful to look at. I have to give credit to a whole bunch of people. I'll start from the cover. The
Mhm.
cover itself sells just how amazing the book is going to look.
Epic.
So Sukomi Akimboye worked on the art of the cover, and Etubi Onucheyo worked on the colors, and the combination of their work just, honestly, I try not to be biased towards any one of my books, but I think this is the best cover we've ever done. I don't we've done a lot of really good covers, but I can't imagine that anything is better than this. So Sukomi and Etubi, have to give credit for them, the cover. When it comes to the interiors, Samuel Iwunze worked on the arts and the inks, pencil on the inks, and then we had my main man Tonyo Ajetumobi, who actually worked on the colors. But Tonyo actually also worked a lot on the concept arts for the book as well, because for something like this, we couldn't just make it up as we go. So we spent actually a couple of months before we started drawing the books to explore, like you said, what does the asteroid belt look like, if Africans conquered it, what would their spaceship look like? Because it wouldn't look like European spaceships. Like, what would those be inspired
Funny
about?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and one more person that I have to really, really, really shout out, has been a friend of mine for a while, is Paul Louis Julie. Paul also came up with a lot
Oh,
of the concept art for how the city would look, some of the ships, as well, like the space, the suits that the Asseri actually wear when they're in space. He came up with that as well too. So I can't forget Paul in this, because he was very, very very, very influential in terms of how the world came together. And also, let's shout out to Paul because he has Johanse, which is also another African space exploration book as well that you guys should check out as well.
Oh my God. Listen, I love the fact that you collaborated with some of my favorite people. You're collaborating with, I mean, Spoof for the lettering. I was like, wait a second.
Yes.
Because the lettering is some good stuff. Even the lettering, the way it describes like the epic naming.
The locations and all that. Yeah.
A lot of thought went into this.
Yes.
And Paul Louis Julie is probably one of the most talented thinking of the concept art I have seen. Really good stuff. His knowledge on Black art and history and culture, translating that into Afrofuturistic concepts, is mind-blowing stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
So great. I didn't know he was involved, but when you
I saw the smile on your face.
So let's break it down.
Yeah.
What is going on in the Asseri? What's the push, the pull? What's the plot? What's going on?
Yeah. So we start off with the Assyrian. We basically see what an advanced West African civilization that has conquered space look like. So it starts off really good. You get to see, the Assyrian, the way they interact with one another. One of the cool things that I immediately had to come up with was because obviously I couldn't have them carrying cell phones, right? But one of the things that obviously, beadwork is very huge in West Africa, right? So the way the Assyri communicate and, go about their daily life, like everybody has, their beads, right? Like, it's like, and then they have a pendant that's sort of like a quote unquote smartphone that sort of like helps them interact with everyday life. So the book opens with that and explaining just how the technology works. Like, I think there's parts in the book where you see somebody haggling in the market and they tap the bead and you can see like currency being exchanged. Yeah. You see people performing surgery and they tap their beads and you can see like immediately like the x-ray of somebody's head comes up as well. So to me, the introduction is a really cool sort of like sweet and subtle way to sort of like push you into the story where you know that, okay, these guys are actually really, really advanced, but it's still grounded in a lot of things that you expect in that's inspired by West African history. But then there's an event that happens by some of the a faction called the AGELESS. The AGELESS are essentially, and let me talk about something real quick. One of the things that was very difficult but also really fun to me was if this takes place 10,000 years ago, right? We don't have the word robots yet, right? So what would something like that, what would the Assiri call it? And I think that was the most fun part of me. Like, so the ageless are essentially robots, from space that have invaded, parts of the Assyri's, their kingdom, and they had to respond. But the Assiri, and I don't want to give too much spoilers here, the Assiri are connected to the ageless in a very weird way. That once the king, Kafan, recognizes that they have invaded, it triggers, old memories from him that sort of like sparks a lot of fear for this very confident king. So they have this council, on the moon to talk about the ageless and their invasion. And you can tell immediately when these 10 council members sit down that there's a massive tension between so many different people. Like nobody throws a fist or nobody transforms to start a fight. But that's room, that scene with the council, that's literally sets the stage for and it's not a spoiler that there's going to be an Assyri civil war. Like part of this story is showing how an empire can grow so big and so massive and so influential. But if you don't take care of the basic things, cracks start to form, and those cracks turn into fissures, and those fissures turn into a full blown out splits. That sort of now sets up the stage for a civil war where power is now being, sort of like, being struggled for in a way that now affects the citizens in the entire galaxy of the world. So yeah, that's sort of how we kick off the story in the Asseri.
I love the fact that you touched on it, the simplicity of how you thought through what people would call things at the very beginning. Because, for example, one thing I started laughing. I started looking forward to what else would he call this.
It became really fun
like,
for
oh,
me.
300 heartbeats. I'm like, that's you know, second.
Second,
Your heart beating is the basic pace of your time, your life.
yeah,
Like,
correct.
okay, heartbeats.
Yeah,
You know, the nightlight, which is the sun,
the
the moon,
sun.
you know,
Yeah, or the worlds of worlds, like
the
which
world of
is like
worlds,
the
the
galaxy.
simplicity
Yeah,
of that, you know, naming
yeah.
things that way. And of course, let's be real. I mean, it's just very convenient that your phone is hanging on your neck. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know, right?
It
Wouldn't
just
it be
very
fun if we could do this? Just tap it and then the
yeah.
person comes.
Yeah. You can tap it and projects. You can tap it and sees. You know the technology there. It's fascinating how you explore technology without Western influences or
Yeah.
any
And
other.
by the way, if iPhone puts a phone on somebody's neck, they need to pay me because I did it first.
Ah, yeah, let's let Apple know right now. If you ever come up with a bracelet phone, you need to shout out to our guys here and cut the check for cut the check for our friends at YouNeek Studios. But
Yeah.
the elders, I think that's the ascended, right?
The
Those
ascended, yeah, those are the essentially the council that control
I'm gonna just
the
break
kingdom.
into it. I'm gonna break into
Yeah,
it. The moment I saw them, and then they start when the first battle I see them involved in, and then I
yeah,
see Encore. I'm like, wait, is he? How tall is this guy? That's the
yeah,
first thing I thought. How big is he? I
yeah.
didn't realize that they go from regular size to massive.
Correct. Yes,
So
correct.
break that down. How does that happen exactly?
Yeah. So to me, it's like an in between how the Hulk transforms and how, like I said, Attack on Titan was an inspiration for me. I'm not even trying to say that because I love that show.
Mhm.
Maybe not the ending too much, but I don't want to get into that. But that's another podcast on its own. But it's where if you look at Bruce Banner and obviously anybody from the Attack on Titan, their transformation is heavily biological based, right? Like it has to do with their biology. When the Asseri transform, they're essentially printing tissue on top of existing tissue to become massive. So it's a little bit more science based, but there's still biology involved in it. So the Ascended are essentially a group of 10 of the most influential people in their series. They're essentially like they're like demigods, and they rule the entire kingdom galaxy that they have, and only them have the ability to transform into what we call the Korra. The Korra are essentially these giant beings, which each one of them, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in another podcast, each one of them have a specialized ability. So like you said, General Anko, for instance, his Korra has the ability to control the elements, so ice, water, fire, and stuff like that. And you see him being badass, like literally in the first 4 pages of the book.
Right. And I just say this now, you're probably going to need to start including phonetic spellings, some pronunciation cues.
Yes, I always have to. Any of my books, yeah.
Because I was reading and thinking, okay, General Korra.
Korra.
And I started thinking as a Yoruba man, Korra.
Yeah.
You know,
Korra.
How did you pronounce it? But yeah, no, it's really impressive how they operate, and I can't wait to finish because I have only gone as far as chapter 4. I'm still pushing my way through, but to shout out to everybody who's worked on this. Again, great work from all the artists, all the people who have been working on this behind the scenes, collaborating with you.
Yeah.
To the audience, if you want to get your hands on a copy of their series, you got to go pre-order it now. Okay, you can do that on Amazon. It drops June. Is it 19th? You said
19th. Yes.
It drops June 19th. So pre-order it now. That way, it lets the publishing houses know that there's interest, and that's how you show your support to your favorite African and Nigerian creators. Right, people from all over the world. Get out there, get into this. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. This is good quality storytelling.
Yeah, and I will say one more thing. If you're on the fence, if you're skeptical, we do have chapter 1 to read for free. If you go to our website, you will be able to grab the Asseri chapter. We can read the first 32 pages completely free of charge, and we'll throw the link on the video or in the chat, or I don't even know where this is going to end up, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We'll throw the link somewhere.
I
In bio.
personally, on behalf of all these people, I'm happy to see that success has not changed you. We still get free stuff ahead of time. So yes, if you want to get the first chapter of the Asseri free, you can go to the YouNeek Studios website. You can go to the links in their social media. You will find it and you will read it. And if you don't want it after that, we need to talk because you don't know good stuff when you see it. But anyway, give us a shout out and tell people where they can find your social media, please.
Yeah, you can follow us on YouNeekStudios.com, or not on YouNeek Studios. You can follow us at YouNeek Studios. You can also follow us on YouNeekStudios.com, but for now, we're talking about Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, Threads, everything, TikTok, we're everywhere at YouNeek Studios. That's YOUNEEK Studios.com. So yeah, please check us out, give us a follow. Join our newsletter on the website uniquestudios.com, and you'll be the first to hear about all our exclusive details in terms of all our books. And yeah, looking forward to chatting with you.
And my name is Jay. I'm a continuing fan of YouNeek Studios ever since I read the first few books and saw the first bit of animation I've seen. Can't wait to see all the other stuff that comes out. You can find me at the Niger Nerds, on all social media as well. Take care, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.